Aloha, everybody, and welcome to the Joystick Show, a podcast where three friends from high school in Hawaii get together to chat about the latest things we've watched, read, and played. As we mentioned in our last episode, this one is kind of a continuation of episode 119, and because it was such a Bambucha episode, we are jumping right into our conversation about Marvel Studios' latest movie, The Marvels. So please enjoy and let us know what you thought about this one.
The Joystick Show.
All right, the new movie just dropped, and hottest news about it is that it's the lowest opening for a Marvel movie, I think, ever. Yeah, that's not a compliment.
Oh, no way.
But I don't think it's a diss either. There was a lot of extenuating circumstances around this movie. We had actor strikes. We had middling
being
movies.
able to promote it. Yeah, that's
Yeah, they
huge.
were- yeah.
Like, not being able to promote the movie.
Not able to promote it. Like so much was tough about this movie coming out, and it seemed like they were like, we're just going to stick with it because we can't hold off any longer in getting this movie out. Let's talk about the Marvels. What do you guys? We'll go overall thoughts, and then we'll start doing some like detailed points. Drake.
Okay.
So it was things that stood out. It was a movie. It was
Like, of course. Like, what are we doing here?
it was a Marvel movie. Okay, so granted, I did not go to the theaters to watch it, so the quality into which I watched it was not the greatest.
Not supposed to do that.
However, in terms of content,
Yeah, I went to theaters, Drake.
oh wow,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Those are some honest
I couldn't.
eyebrows.
I know. Eyebrows of honesty. Things that I liked. I liked that there's continuity. That was great. The action was great. The banter between the three of them, Tanoa Paris, Brie Larson, Iman Vellani, was great. The use of their powers was great. How they kind of montaged into figuring it all out. I enjoyed it, even though it was kind of, cliche. I still liked it. The overall story, it was mid for me, like using that new lingo.
Yeah, look at you, Gen Z.
It wasn't. Yeah, I know.
What'd you say?
It was mid.
Oh,
Yeah.
Did you not know that?
It wasn't
term,
lit. It wasn't fire.
it's
you know
like
what
the
I mean?
middle. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, it's.
It's like in between.
Why don't you just meet me in the middle?
I didn't. I was. It was interesting that they kind of reused a Kree warrior with a hammer as like the main villain in this situation. I think. I don't know. That's kind of overdone for me already. I get that we're in the realm and it's leading to other things, but I think that was an interesting choice. The idea of the second bangle randomly on a different planet with little explanation. Granted, it can just exist and that's fine.
Okay.
But considering
Okay, finish your sentence, and then I want to go
Considering
into those individual points. That's why.
okay,
Wait, but
considering
after.
Okay. Oh yeah,
Oh,
considering
wait, stop it. Cut it off one more time. Yes, perfect. We did it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
How bad are you getting?
I like your hat.
It's okay. It's all right.
It's good.
Considering that we've gotten it in Miss Marvel in the show, the kind of the bangle happenstance, it was just interesting. It didn't really seem too connected, and that is my spiel.
Very nice.
Cool.
Yeah, I think all great points. Scott, go for it.
Trash. Move on. No, I'm joking. It was.
There you go. Yeah.
Great.
I think it's unfair. Like you're saying that headline, there's a lot going on that's besides like the not being able to promote and stuff. It's like, I think the track record of Marvel so far is not helping the movie as well.
True.
You know?
Yeah.
Like if this movie came out at a different time, like earlier in the movie cycle, it probably would have done really well. Like, so it's a lot of people making assumptions about the movie without even watching the movie, which is unfortunate. Because the movie wasn't that bad. Like, it was like a normal Marvel movie. There were definitely moments, of course, you're like, okay. Like, so like the villain wasn't that strong.
Yeah.
There were certain things you're like, it's kind of wonky. But there was a lot of cool aspects of this movie. The way they use powers, the way they use, like, teamwork in this movie was pretty unique.
Yeah.
There was a lot of good to it as well. There was some silly aspect, but that's kind of been Marvel, like
Yeah.
it wasn't bad. But the reason I didn't watch it, I couldn't watch it in theaters as well because I was working overnights and I couldn't find time. So that would definitely the definition of the movie probably make a difference. Seeing it in theaters probably makes a difference as well. And the aspect of, the point that we can get these movies within maybe a month or two on TV nowadays, it's like,
Yeah.
why even go to the movies anymore? So all of that had working against it. But it was actually a pretty decent movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was pretty good. I didn't think it was terrible by any means. I definitely do not think it's the worst Marvel movie. As I go back and I watch all of these movies in a row, like Thor, there was a lot I like about Thor 1. I don't necessarily think it's that great of a movie. Is it a better movie? Maybe, but I don't know. So
Yeah.
I think this was way better than the first Captain Marvel for me. It just seemed like they were having so much fun. One point that you talked about, Scott, which was Marvel's track record hasn't been that awesome lately, and it hasn't. Like if you look at Secret Invasion or even Miss Marvel got bad reviews, or She-Hulk, like all these things kind of compounded. And I think that even Quantumania didn't really smash the box office like they were assuming. So I think if Secret Invasion had done better, this movie would have done better. Because everybody knew that Secret Invasion was leading into this. And Secret Invasion sucked. And somehow this movie made Secret Invasion even worse. And I said that on the Instagram review, and I stand by it.
Yeah.
This Nick Fury for me, I love Nick Fury. I think Samuel L. Jackson, amazing actor. Everything that he did in this movie didn't work for me. It just didn't make sense. It felt like two different Nick Furies. Going from Endgame, then to Secret Invasion, then to this, it's like two different characters. Drake, you brought up some points though. Let's go back to some of the things that you didn't like.
I didn't like. Man, it seems like I didn't like a lot of things.
That's okay. Let's go by the point. Let's point it out because I'm curious on the individual things. I think you had some really good points on those, but I feel like each one of them kind of deserves their own little time. Yeah.
Yeah. Biggest thing, I think, the bangle.
The bangle. Okay, yes. Let's get into that. Because in Miss Marvel, we see that her grandma gets it off a blue hand in this temple in India somewhere with 10 ring symbols on the side. And then in this movie, it's boom, they find it on an asteroid or some planet, and she just
in a rock,
just breaks it, brushes off some dirt, and it's boom, there it is, and just puts it on. And it felt like that was so anticlimactic for how much we wanted to know about the bangles.
Yeah, I agree. Because then it's the second bangle, there was nothing special about it other than it just got lost somewhere on a rock. The first one, it seemed like it meant something to somebody, and it was this whole thing around. The other one's oh yeah, you wouldn't believe what I found over here. It felt less special, right?
Yeah.
It was just in space somewhere.
The most special part, I like how one kind of absorbed powers and one kind of shot it out. I thought that was kind of a cool idea. It's, I also liked hearing quantum bands because we had talked about it when we watched Miss Marvel. We're oh, maybe it's a nega bands, maybe it's a quantum bands. And hearing them say it's yes, okay, finally they named it. But it wasn't that much of a surprise anymore because we already knew what it was going to be. So that was kind of I just kind of wish there was more of an exciting way of her finding it that really was this really ties to Kree history or something, but it didn't feel that important. So I don't know.
Yeah.
That was kind of let down. The other thing, the main character or main villain.
The villain. Yeah.
God, I wanted to like her. I really did because she's Tom Hiddleston's fiance. They just had a baby together. And I'm oh man, what a big week for both of them. Loki finale, the Marvels. She's Tarben or something like that. Tarben, I think. Darben. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Darwin.
But I just never felt even she was hitting Brie Larson pretty hard with a hammer. I never felt I believed her or was scared of her or anything. It never felt like she was a big, big bad.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys had this problem. I had a hard time knowing how strong everyone was. Like
Right.
sometimes Brie Larson's Carol Danvers is like crazy. It's like that whole Superman thing that we've talked about before. Like sometimes he's like this strong, and then he meets another villain, and now he's this strong.
Right.
You know, like it's just like I'm like, how strong is Dar-Ben? Because she's smacking Carol Danvers with a hammer, and then she's also smacking Ms. Marvel, and I'm like, did she not just get her head crushed in? Like, is she as strong as Brie Larson's character? Like, I was just getting kind of confused with that aspect. And then like the drive, like I get it. Like on paper, that drive should hit me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this. We're kind of dealing with it right now. We don't need to touch on it, but like it's a thing. Like it's a big thing. But for whatever reason, I didn't feel like she was that scary of a villain.
Right.
Like I don't know
Yeah.
what it was. It was like
Yeah, I think she
Yeah,
was
I really
so
wanted her to
non-fleshed
hit.
Yeah,
out.
she didn't seem important. Yeah,
Yeah.
not fleshed out. She didn't seem important. Like there was no weight behind her. Just like I'm mad because I'm a Kree, and you know Krees to be mad.
Yeah, I mean, it like I never sunk in how shitty their situation was because the Annihilator destroyed their planet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it never sunk in. Like, are you living miserably? Is everybody living miserably? Like, I think if we had saw some people like, I don't have enough water, you know, we got to spend time maybe with the people she was trying to save. It might have sunk in more. But it was like, oh, wait, are you a diplomat? Are you a villain? Are you a what? Like, yeah, the savior of your people. Like, I guess her motivation was so
Yeah.
unclear, and her plan was so unclear for me most of the movie that I never really understood her, and that was kind of a letdown for the villain for me. Again, I'm like, I feel like I'm sounding really negative about it. I actually did like this movie, but the villain just for me wasn't that strong, and because of the villain's motivations.
Right. I'm trying to remember. Do we get to see the planet other than the ending where she flies to the sun?
Yeah, we do.
word.
There's a part where she's like doing like what's it again? Tarbed.
Darwin,
Dar-Ben.
like Darwin, like he said, but with
Oh, okay, there you
Uncle
go.
Ben.
There you go. Yeah, like we do see a moment where she's talking to the people, and she's like, "I'm gonna save you. I'm gonna bring back the waters. I'm gonna bring back the sun. I'm gonna bring back blah blah blah."
yeah, I think like that should have been like you're saying, like just stronger. Like we need to freaking feel how much these, and like also feel the weight of like this is like a whole planet of people are gonna die. Like they should have sold it sold it better versus like
Have
a
the
small
whole planet. Yeah.
small town on this planet. Like we're like who else is hearing her? Like you know, it seemed like she's just talking to like 10 people in a village. Like, okay, you know, I got you guys. Like
Yeah.
like I want to feel like the whole planet's dying. It's a big
Right,
deal.
like somehow Hunter B-15 crying over all the prune timelines. I felt that more than like 100 people on screen like in rags. It's like, how does that
yeah.
make sense? But
That's good.
yeah. All right, let's talk about the character interactions because I think it was a standout of the movie. I think Iman Vellani has solidified herself as a star. She was by far the standout out of all of them, followed by Monica Rambeau for me, and then followed by Brie Larson. And like, I so wanted to like Brie Larson in this movie. I so want to like her as an actress because people are enamored by her. I just don't get it. Like her acting doesn't work on me. Like I don't ever feel like I believe it. Like we're watching Lessons in Chemistry, and I do like her in that. I do, but I don't feel like she's this. I'll put it this way: I think she's been the only miss in casting in the whole timeline of the MCU. Since 2008, I feel like she's the only one that's ever been miscast, and like. Again, and that's being before I sound sexist or whatever. I still think Tanoia Paris is fantastic. I think Iman Vellani fantastic. Not Ashley Olsen. What's her name? The Olsen sister, Scarlet Witch, Elizabeth Olsen, fantastic. Like there's
Elizabeth
so
Olsen,
many
yep.
great women that they have put in these roles. And I said this to Frank on Challenge Accepted, and I stand by. Like if the MCU was 10 years younger and they had to cast Carol Danvers and they put like Charlize Theron in there. Like I think she would have ripped this role. I think it would have been so much stronger.
That's a good point. Yeah. Like I agree. Like her as Carol Danvers, I'm not completely sold still. Like,
yeah, and she's had 4 at bats. Like she's had 4 attempts to show us Carol Danvers, and it's like it never really works for me. I never felt like she was that badass in this movie. She was like too badass in the first movie, and now she's like didn't feel badass at all in this one to me.
Yeah.
It's like what is going on? Like so again, I think that speaks to your point earlier, Scott, of like power scaling. But anyways, let's go back on the positive side.
But Iman Vellani,
yeah.
Freaking, definitely. I agree. Star of the show. I loved her in Miss Marvel. I know some people really didn't like the show. I like the show.
I like the show too.
And she was great in this movie. She definitely, like, you feel like she's like this freaking kid freaking out about meeting her hero. And like, I liked all her line. And like, she rarely do I guess agree with like, oh, the guy in the series should be the guy in the movie kind of thing. Because that doesn't always pan out that way. But this felt like a smooth transition. I'm like, dude, I hope I see her more. I know at the very end we get a hint at something else we'll talk about later, but I hope I see her in like maybe that crossover things going on, like with those people.
Yeah.
But I want to see more of her. She did a great job. And then Monica Rambeau, it was cool seeing her. Her suit looks sick, by the way.
Yeah, Monica Rambeau's?
Oh, sorry.
Iman Vellani's?
The ghost. No, jumping to the other character now.
Which one? Monica
Rambeau?
Yeah.
Monica Rambeau?
Yeah, her suit looks sick.
The
black and
white.
The Venom
Yeah.
It's
like the photon suit from the comics. And stuff.
Yeah, that was super sick. And then, I think those 2 out of the 3 definitely, I have to agree, they were the standout.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's good to have, I guess, 3 main characters because you're bound to like one of them, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, one of my favorite Monica Rambeau parts was when they get teleported to Miss Marvel's house, and then she punches a Kree, and then like flies through him, phases through him, and then punches him in the face on the other side. I was like, that's pretty sick. That was cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's briefly touch on 2 things because I think we have to talk about it. The singing planet, I think it's called Aladon, and the water singing planet, and the Flurkin scenes where everybody has to get eaten to be transported to Earth.
Yeah.
I mean, Drake likes cats, so about the Flurkin scenes, I thought it was hilarious that whole moment was in a bubble of just like, this is so ridiculous, but like it took it away from kind of focusing on the negative parts of the movie and getting to like enjoy a little bit of like farcicalness to it. Makes me think, but then at the same point in time, they get released onto a planet. Now there's just millions of Flarkins that look like cats. Like, what's going to happen with that?
Right. Talk about Men in Black.
And they're just randomly eating people.
Yeah.
And then I'm assuming, I mean, that's how they eat too, right? So like, how are you so sure they're going to spit out everything?
Right.
I don't know. That was kind of weird.
Yeah.
It felt like an SNL sketch. Like,
just randomly thrown
I'm sorry. Like, she's making walls to stop people, and they're like, yeah. It's like, it's like, I'm so sorry. It's got to be done. Like, and I don't know why they're not getting eaten. Like, it's weird. The cast just know not to. I don't know. It was kind of a weird scene. It was a fun scene.
Yes.
But it was kind of like goofy in a sense.
It was. It didn't work for me. I like as soon as I saw those like pink things fell around, I'm like, are those gonna be Flurkin eggs? And then they were, and I'm like, gosh, yeah. My first thought was like, how do we know they're gonna spit people out? Like, how do you know that? You can't even talk to them.
They weren't even keeping count of who was eating who.
It's true. Yeah. Nobody had like a board, and they were checking off names. Nothing. So.
Yeah,
that scene, man, it just didn't work for me. And also how cool Nick Fury was with the Flurkins, knowing the last time he saw one, it scratched out his eye, and then he was just like, "Yeah, I like them now." I was like,
"Yeah, it was really like," and I agree because I heard what you said about your take on the movie after you watched it, and like I do, it felt like a totally different Nick Fury. He didn't even need to be there. It's like they just kept flashing back to him while action was going on. He's like, yeah, like, do that thing. And then, like, he's like, why are you even here? Like, what's going on? I don't know. Yeah, and then the Secret Invasion show, I didn't even think about that show while I watched this movie because it felt so disconnected.
Yeah.
Like, and if this was supposed to lead into this, I'm like, how... In that show, he had much higher stakes. Mm-hmm. Like, he was doing something. And then this is like, he's chilling in space and he's kind of got to work while he's on a cruise or something.
Right,
like, it felt weird.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No doubt. All right. Let's talk about the water planet very briefly, and then we'll get into the end credit scene, or I guess post-credit scene, mid-credit scene.
Water planet.
That felt like a sketch too, man.
Yeah.
That just did not work for me. I really was like, oh, it's not going to be that bad because I heard people talking trash about it before I went to see it. And I saw it and I was like, man, it just doesn't work for me.
It's that bad.
Yeah.
And I think
I
I was seeing TikToks of like, oh, the reason why people are watching the movie, and it was I don't even know the actor, but the guy who was supposed to be her husband.
yeah. Like that Korean.
Yeah, I don't know who he is, but
Guy?
it's like,
Yeah.
obviously, like if you're a big fan of this dude, no matter what he's doing, it seems like it's working for you.
Right.
So I think that's what it was. Like, so people who are fans are like, yes.
I'm not going to lie.
And then otherwise, I'm like, I don't know who this is. I don't know what's going on. Why are they singing?
Yeah, I thought he was maybe in BTS or something. I didn't know. I don't think he's not. He's an actor. So I was like, I don't know what's going on here.
I have no idea. Yeah. But yeah, it was silly. And then he's just like, oh, you speak? He's like, oh, he's bilingual. And I'm like, what are we doing here?
Right.
What the fuck are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
You knew he was bilingual? Like, can we cut this shit? Like,
I know. I would have.
are there big stakes? Like, what are we doing?
It didn't. It was kind of like when Jack Black and Lizzo popped into. It
I
was
heard that comparison so many times that I'm like, I like the Jack Black and Lizzo episode.
I did. I liked it because it was a nice change of pace. I liked it because it was a nice little, oh, this is different. But then once it kind of got elongated, it was like, ooh, I
It's
don't.
too long.
Why? Like, why?
Yeah.
Why? It served only a purpose to do shock and awe. And it's kind of relative to, I think, how some of us feel about Brie Larson. It's mostly just about kind of like a look at me kind of a situation. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
what it felt like for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. I was like, is this a musical now? Like, I didn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just felt out of place.
Yeah.
I didn't really, and it's kind of forgettable too. Like, and then thinking back in the movie, I wasn't even. You brought it up and like, oh yeah, I forgot they even had that scene. Like it felt like it didn't need to be there.
Yeah. Totally. I will.
But that just could be me. Maybe there's people who really loved it. I don't know.
Yeah. I will say, like, my mom did enjoy that part. So there's people out there, like, maybe it's for them,
Okay.
or if you like musicals
Cool.
and stuff, maybe you'll really dig it. But,
Yeah.
God, I did not.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's one of those like I might appreciate it more if I heard like the director also directed Broadway and blah blah blah, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense, and then I'd like it. I don't know.
Right.
Like as weird as I need a justification to like this, because otherwise I'm like, not for me,
Totally.
which is fine. But the cool stuff they did, dude, I have to say, Miss Marvel, the stuff they did with her powers in this, like,
Yeah.
was freaking awesome. She really
It was like
grew.
watching Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah, it was freaking cool. I love how she was like using like it as like pivoting points. Like she'd make a pole and then like
Right. Swing
grab
around
it and change her momentum and shit, and like it was cool, man.
Yeah. There's a part where I think somebody, like, knocks Darben up in the air with something, and then she jumps off one of her platforms and, like, stretchy arm punches down. And I was like, that looks pretty cool. That was a pretty sick
Yeah.
move.
Yeah.
So, yeah, another part I liked was them practicing their interchanging. I think that might have been my favorite part in the movie, where they were all trying to trade
Yeah.
places. And then they were, like,
Yeah.
practicing that, and they were all just kind of hanging out and that interaction. I think that was another...
It was like the.
What's that?
I was gonna say it was like the only earned thing.
Yeah, it made sense in that part of the story. And, like, Monica saving Iman made sense. And, like, even the whole... Monica and Carol trying to work out, like, why didn't you come see me? That never made sense to me. Like, I killed this planet, so I felt bad, so I didn't want to visit you, knowing that you were going to be alone. Like, what?
Yeah.
So anyway, let's talk about the post.
Some good
Let's
stuff.
talk about the last scene in the movie where we get a reenaction. Oh, yeah, one more thing. Yeah, go for it.
Sorry, real quick. There was a one part too, like where it seemed like they were kind of figuring out, like, oh, when I use my powers, we switch places, kind of thing. But it wasn't fully established. And then Brie Larson's like, she decides to like try and leave the Earth's atmosphere, and then she switches places with Iman Vellani, and then she's falling from the sky.
Yeah,
I was like, what if you reached space? You would have just murdered her.
yeah, good point.
Like no one else could really go out in space, right? Like,
True.
well, I guess they can if she ghosts out or something, maybe. But it was like, I was just like, this is really irresponsible of you to just make that decision like that.
Right. That was dangerous. That was a big gamble.
Yeah.
Big gamble.
Yeah.
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 Okay, sorry, I digress.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay.
Ending.
Yeah. Last scene of the regular movie, which felt more like a mid-credit scene, we get we see Kate Bishop walk in back to her apartment that we saw in Hawkeye. We see a pizza getting thrown to Lucky, and out of the shadows comes Iman Vellani, Miss Marvel, looking like Nick Fury from Iron Man 1, and says the whole "I'm going to put a team together" thing, kind of hinting at the Young Avengers. Yeah, thoughts?
Yeah.
If only I got to see Florence Pugh's Black Widow as well too, it would have like really gave me all the feels.
Yeah. That would have been good. I wonder if she'll be on the team, or I wonder if she's like gonna, because she's going to be in the Thunderbolts. I wonder if she doesn't qualify as a Young Avenger, but I don't know.
We're just gonna have teams on teams. Okay,
yeah, I don't know. I like, again, that scene. I was like, I want to say cool, but at this point, again, like we're looking at trajectory. We're looking at like, is like the superhero thing like waning on people, like people who aren't fans? Like, is this too late to do something like this where people are actually going to care about it and want to watch it? Like, hearing that Pedro Pascal, Mr. Fantastic thing, I was excited as well, because it's like, this is like a RDJ taking on a big role.
Right.
Like, Pedro's hot right now. This is going to bring people who don't watch Marvel in. Like, I'm all about bringing new actors in and stuff, but like at this point, I feel like we need super crazy strong casts that like will just bring in people because they're them, and then bang out a good story, and then get people on board again, and then sprinkle in the Young Avengers and stuff.
But what if it's a series? I'm serious.
It probably
I'm
will
not
be a series,
doing a
actually.
Drake thing. I'm like serious. Like what
But
if it is a series?
Okay, that's a good point. I mean, that could work. It probably will be a series. Now you say that, I don't know why I thought it was gonna be a movie. It could be. It's probably gonna be. It's probably gonna be a series.
I mean, it could be.
Then
a
I'm
movie.
gonna get a little crazy about it. But that could work. But then even then, like track record on that. I mean, I'm enjoying them, but some people are just getting upset at the amount of things we get now.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's maybe they're stretching the writers, so like the stories aren't as strong. Or something. I don't know what it is.
Interesting people to man the projects, I will say. And then also, like, leadership has been really funky in Marvel right now. They fired one of the three pillars of the company in Victoria Alonso. Not saying that she didn't deserve it. I don't know all the details, but she got fired. And so things have been different in there, I will say. And adding all these Disney Plus projects has stretched Kevin Feige thin. And reading that book, The Reign of MCU, like, the thing is, like, Kevin Feige is also a partial director on every movie. And like when you add in like 5 other projects a year, like he can't be at everywhere at one time. Like, he was barely getting it done during Endgame. So it's just too much, I think, for any one person. But I'm really excited about it. I loved the Young Avengers run leading into Kang. If they pivot away from Kang, I don't know how that all works, but you're right in that I wonder who the cast will be. We know that we're getting Cassie Lang, that was in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I think Haley Steinfeld is massive. I think she can draw in a big audience.
That's true.
Yeah, I think everybody loved Iman Vellani in this movie. I think she'll draw in more people. I think what's her name? Like something Newton, Ashley Newton or something, who played Cassie Lang. She has her own type of audience too. But is Scar going to bring people in for the Young Avengers? Is Isaiah Bradley going to bring in people? I don't know. Unless he's recast as like who's Will Smith's son? Yeah,
Jaden.
like unless he's like portrayed by Jaden Smith, like I don't know if people come out for him either. So you're right. I don't know about the plausibility of it, but do I want to see a Younger Avengers movie or series? Hell yeah, that would be so sick. That team is awesome. So yeah, I'm really on board with that. I hope it happens. All right, let's jump to a team that we know everybody wants to see, and if this shows up more than what we got in this movie, which I was not expecting to get anything about the X-Men in a Marvel's show. But God, that post-credit scene was phenomenal. I would literally buy another ticket and watch this whole movie again to see that 2 minutes of the end credit scene. That's how much.
Where?
Dude, 100%. Look at this. 100% I would do.
Oh my God, Cyclops is on your shirt.
Dude, God.
Does it say nerd?
100% it does. Yeah, proud of it, baby.
Right on, and you're wearing it right.
Hell yeah.
That's a cool jacket, by the way.
Cyclops.
It's also
That's a cool
Keith.
jacket. Can I see it again?
He's got the, what is this?
Dude,
Kid
I like
on this
that.
side and Cyclops on this side. Oh, yeah. And it's got like a big logo on the back. hand stitch, baby. It's nice. But
Stitch, I did it myself.
but yeah, God, that was so fucking good.
Dude, and yeah, so when that kicked off, I'm like, is that Kelsey Grammer?
Yeah.
It is Kelsey
That
Grammer.
voice.
Dude, oh man.
That's what I'm talking about. If you're gonna have a
Love
CG
it.
character,
Love
you
it.
have to have a recognizable voice. And Kelsey Grammer's
Yeah.
voice is the beast. Even though he was only in 2 movies, is
Frasier.
iconic.
He's OG Beast.
That is Beast voice. And so that was such
my
a
God.
smart move bringing him back. I was so fucking
Yes.
pumped. That was, God, I love that so much. Yeah, Drake,
that was
thoughts?
No, I agree. It was nostalgic and it was exciting, especially the look towards kind of like the future of. I mean, what we're about to get is the X-Men. So with you bringing back, I think it was smart because it gave me instantaneous trust. Oh, you brought Kelsey Grammer, the beast that I most signify beast with. Well, I assume you're going to be doing the same things for the other characters, or even if you're not, at least I trust you going into it. And I think that has built the most kind of excitement, especially for X-Men, the thing that you know, all three of us have we've lived and breathed X-Men. That was my favorite thing. I had the entire series of Age of Apocalypse, thanks to somebody. Nice. So it's like, what? Speechless.
for sure. Like that got me like, this is what we need. Like in the whole like, are people getting tired of films like these type of films? I'm like, we need the next like X-Men already, or we need the next Fantastic Four or whatever. Like we need like a powerhouse movie, to bring it back. Before people get too tired of it, and then it's just us watching it. It's probably gonna be fucking awesome,
Right?
Whenever it does come, I'll fucking wait 40 years to watch this shit.
I will not.
I'll still watch it.
I'll
then.
wait another 2. But
then when another one comes out in 40 years,
yes, when another one comes out in 40 years, like I'll take my grandkids to it.
Fits. Yeah,
for sure. But like, that's the thing with Marvel in the state now. Nobody was super on board with Brie Larson's Captain Marvel, but people were on board with Steve Rogers' Captain America. Maybe Sam Wilson will be a big enough draw. I love Sam Wilson. I don't know if the rest of the world does, or at least America does. But like Robert Downey Jr., big enough character with Iron Man. Chris Hemsworth is Thor.
Yeah.
And then you have Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. And then you have Jeremy Renner as some guy with a bow and arrow. Like, it's just crazy, like those are the powerhouse of Marvel.
these are powerhouse actors.
Yeah, powerhouse actors and like powerhouse characters. And like nobody knew Captain Marvel when that movie was announced. Like maybe you could say the same about Black Panther, but it had this built-in audience, you could say. Like everybody in the 90s was on board with the X-Men. And at some point, a lot of people, if you're a Marvel fan, you were on board with the Fantastic Four. So like that's such a smart move. Get to those characters. Like Moon Knight's cool, sure. Like Miss Marvel's cool. Who else? She-Hulk's cool in a way, but it's like those aren't the characters people come to Marvel to see. They come to see the heavy hitters.
It's and I get the whole, maybe people forget that Fox had these characters and then Disney obtained them, and like I don't know how long it takes to fully get to like to the point where we can make movies on them now and stuff like that. Even if they I probably would have felt better if they're like, okay, we just obtained Fox. It's going to take exactly this long until we can start a film. So everyone chill until this year.
Yeah.
Like, I'd much rather just know.
I wish, even if they said at least wait till 2026, I'd be like, okay, 2026, we're getting it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like just
I
to
need
get
to
an
know
idea.
when.
Because we know if Marvel, like after the first Iron Man, if it did well, and they had all the rights to like, X-Men and stuff, that probably would have been way earlier.
Yeah.
For sure. Because they're going to look at, like, oh, who's the top characters that make money? Wolverine? All right, dude.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yep. But again, I can't say enough about that book. The way a lot that we got to the Avengers was, one, Kevin Feige's vision, but two, because Ike Perlmutter, the guy who owned Marvel, basically, was like, we got to sell toys. And what sells toys? Popular characters. So, like... Yeah, do the popular characters. I think that's
for sure
reflecting now. I've tried to stay so positive on Marvel, and like I'm always going to be a fan. But Phase 4 was just a bunch of no-name characters for people who weren't comic book fans. And we got to get to the point where people can start recognizing some people like, oh, I know Beast. Oh, I know, I don't know. I'm trying to think of who. Nobody knew Binary, but like Scarlet Witch comes back. Oh, I know Scarlet Witch. Loki did well because people know Loki and they know where he started. And it's like, how did he change? What does he go through? So like, we got to get back to like knowing some characters, and they got to be the forefront. Nobody knew the Eternals.
I feel like for me, the only one that like super nailed it with like some of the characters I was unfamiliar with and ended up really loving the movie was Guardians.
Guardians.
I was like, Guardians, and I looked up and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Man, this is a turn.
But
I ended up really loving those characters. True. Those movies are like up there for me.
But you had
other than that, like everything's pretty
unique
decent.
Screenwriter, and then you had James Gunn writing and directing.
Yeah, James Gunn, and he's like very unique,
so unique,
one in a million type of dude. So it's like it very rarely works like that.
Yeah.
It's like they took that idea and was like, oh, James Gunn did it. Everyone could do it. And it's like, nah, dude. Like,
yeah.
I think the special ingredient was James Gunn.
Exactly.
And like the team he selected, like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So good. I'm so excited. I don't know where we see the X-Men again. I don't think we get them in Captain America, Brave New World or whatever. I don't know if we see them there. I'm trying to think of what Deadpool. We're going to see some X-Men in Deadpool, which makes me even more excited about. Because like for the 2 minutes, like I said, oh my God, the freaking 2 minutes was like all I needed. And it's like, dude, like we're getting a whole movie of that with Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. Like, God, I'm so excited. Yeah. Can't it just be 2024 already? Oh man. Yeah.
And then because it's like, that's the other thing. I know we're kind of going into this, but
yeah.
The Deadpool thing, I'm not super in the know about like the budget for this film or whatnot, but because it's like now Disney's backing it and it's not like, they're acquiring it. It would be cool to just be like, if one of the scenes are like, let's do a fucking crazy cameo of like everyone in the X-Men shit.
Yeah.
Or like something like, even for a second, and they're like, that's all we could afford or some shit, like
literally taking the scene from Deadpool. But like, bring back James Marsden, bring back Famke Janssen, bring back Halle Berry. Like, just do it. Just do it. Like why not?
I hope they do. And I feel like they are.
I think so. But I just like, I don't, you're right in that. I don't know if we can wait till Secret Wars anymore. I think we got to start seeing them in action and seeing moves in that direction. Otherwise, maybe people fall off before then. And I don't want to see that. Mm-hmm. So anyways, closing thoughts, final words before we wrap up this episode. I'm going a little long on this one.
Always great to talk with you guys. And thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope you are as excited about all the things we talk about as we are. Please like and subscribe and comment. We want to hear from you guys.
Cool.
Damn.
Nice.
Drake.
Most purpose is more burden than glory.
Damn.
I'll leave you with that.
Mic drop. We're out. All right, everybody. Thanks for checking it with us.
The Joystick Show.
If you've enjoyed what you've been listening to, we'd really appreciate a follow, subscribe, and a review. Just how we like chatting with our friends, please share this with yours. Feel free to join the squad and follow us at JoyStickShow Joystick Show on Twitter and Instagram, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you feel like submitting topics or questions to be discussed on future episodes, you can email us at joystick.show@gmail.com. As always, thank you, peace out, and make it a great rest of your week.